seconds. Charles Barkley. Johnson around his man, drives his Davis scores. So Lamar Jackson is going to Stoudemire scores. Rejected. What a defensive effort that time. Crowder looking for the alley. Kevin Durant. Break it out here. With the long one, won't get it. Long rebound. Finds Booker. This is good.
And welcome in, Planeteers. I apologize. I am streaming from a hotel, so my internet is a little bit slow today. So when I heard the music stop, it took for about 7 seconds for me to switch to the correct tab to know that I was actually live with all of you, the Planeteers. Thanks for coming in. And we've got a special guest today coming all the way from the He's on Fire podcast, at least sometimes. But you might also know him from the Suns Jam guest hosting duties as well. Jay Joyce, how you doing, Jay?
I'm good, and I appreciate you having me on. I don't listen to as much Suns content anymore, but y'all are definitely in the rotation, so I really appreciate you having me on finally. So.
Oh, well, finally. Geez, look at this guy. No, I appreciate you. Well, and like you said, you're used to doing more of a nighttime stream. So this is the daytime one. We get far less cursing in. This is much more positive. Void is not here to, really rail against the sun. So it's all light. It's all happiness.
It's good vibes. Yeah,
Exactly. So as I drink my hotel coffee, and this isn't like I went down to the hotel lobby to like the little, barista deal. This is the in the room. I hope they clean the coffee maker at least once in the last year coffee. So let's hope it doesn't kill me on this episode. But we've got interesting things to talk about regarding the Suns. Half a step forward, half step back. It's painful, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like tenfold. Yeah.
We since our last episode, we had just 2 games, and we'll cover them here. But we were just coming off a nice little win against the Utah Jazz. And I don't know, what are your thoughts, Jay, on the schedule of the NBA Cup? Because for me, it felt like we played like 3 games in a month. It just felt like we had a tremendous amount of time off. There was like 4 days off between games. We played the Magic 2 weeks ago. Then we had 4 days off. Played the Jazz, had a day off. Played the Blazers, who we'll talk about shortly, had 3 days off after that before we played the Pacers and day off, and now we'll play the Pistons today. But for a team that's always injured and wants to get right, you would have thought that this played right into our hands a little bit, but not quite the way we were hoping.
Like with this NBA Cup, I mean, it's very like hit or miss for certain people. For the teams that are in it, it's pretty exciting. But considering the type of team that we are right now, with like soon as we get a player back, another gets injured, and it's been like that since the season started. I greatly appreciate all the time off. So these KD, Beal, and now Book have some time to get back into the swing of things. But yeah, from a viewership standpoint, it kind of sucks, and like the NBA is kind of like in a position where like they don't like competing for airtime against like college football or NFL, and the NBA just needs to get some cojones in a sense and really go against these other organizations and set up some primetime games in the midst of these like long day breaks. But I appreciate, since we got eliminated, we had like 2 easy games like off rip, so I'll take that any day of the week. So
yeah. Well, and I'll say that I feel like the national like sports like world for the NBA type stuff, all I've been hearing for the last couple of weeks is ratings are down 17%, 15%, something like that. Something double-digit percentage ratings drops. And is it because we're shooting too many threes? Do people just all of a sudden hate the 3 ball? I mean, we can get into that if you want, but personally, like I said, I mean, I think that's just the way the game's played now, and people looked at the analytics and they said, hey, it's better to make a 3 than a 2. And if you're shooting, at least competitively enough from outside, then you need to be a shooter. And that's why we've seen the big man kind of go to the way of the dodo bird if he was kind of just like a traditional back to the basket type center. I mean, people forget that, Charles Barkley was so dominant that they instituted the 5 seconds back to the basket rule. So, I don't know. Do you think? Yeah, let's just start there. Do you think they need to change any rules to try and, or would that even save the ratings?
I don't think at all the 3 ball is the issue. I think it's a lot of little things that kind of are snowballing into a bigger thing. Like we've been pounding the table for good continuity basketball and just smarter IQ basketball. I mean, I've been preaching since we saw the prime San Antonio Spurs. Like this is how NBA teams are supposed to play. And like when you get a offensive rebound and you come down and there's always an open 3-point shooter, and you'd rather take the 3 than a 2 in all those situations, and that's where most of these 3 balls are coming from, is all the offensive rebounds and it's the kick out and all that. So I don't think the 3 ball at all is what the issue is. I think we've gone into sort of like a perfection of game sort of time, and I don't think Adam Silver should be sitting on his hands. I think he should incorporate something just to make the games a little more exciting. I've heard dunks for 3 points. I mean, that would be a little crazy, but it gives an incentive for people to drive into paint again. And I think that all contributes to what's been going on. Players aren't getting rewarded for being aggressive in the paint,
Yeah.
and we've been seeing players get more injured, like more now, like young talent. The high flyers aren't even risking going into the paint now because, they're just getting injured and not getting, rewarded for it. There's no incentive to drive into the paint anymore. And, a rule change that's happened in the NBA under the Stern time and the Silver time has benefited the offense. And even like we just saw with Book in the last game, like they instituted that rule more forcefully of taking away the landing zone from the offensive player after that Zaza Pachulia Kawhi Leonard thing. They really hammered home like they're going to crack down on it, and they never did. There's once they start try to institute a new rule, they get a little pushback, and then they just stop calling it the way that it should be. So there's a lot of little things that they can do to make the viewership a little better, but I don't think the viewership is really that down. I watch all my games on like StreamEast just because the streams are clean. When Matt Ishaba put out those like TV sort of antennas for local people, I ordered one. I have it connected to my master bedroom in that TV and all that. I just think like the cable TV is just sort of dying and everyone's just watching their games on StreamEast just because the streams are clean. Sucks. And, there's just a lot of little stuff that they can change to make it better. So.
Well, it's funny. I go back to junior high in this example, but there was a school we used to play that actually had such a small, a basketball floor that the corner 3-point shot actually ran basically out of bounds. Like you have maybe like 6 inches to be in bounds and still behind the 3-point line. And that's the thing I think I've been hearing the most is eliminate the corner 3. What would your thoughts be on that one? Kind of like zoning that part out.
Actually making it an actual arc. That's interesting. I mean, if they want to do that, that's fine with me, but I don't think it solves the 3-point volume issue, per se. Like Boston, like they crank it from like the wing and the wing and the center of the arc and all that, so it won't like really affect a team like Boston. I mean, they're loaded anyway, but if they want to limit the threes, if they really think that's the issue, I think they have like I don't think they're really thinking clearly. Honestly, I don't think taking away the corner 3 is really going to do much with viewership. We're like you're still incentivizing them,
Right.
you know, to crank the three and all that.
I can't think of anyone that's like, well, they just shoot too many threes, but if they take away the corner three, I'm back, man. I'm back to watching the game.
There's no, I don't get that correlation really. So.
To me, it's a little bit more the, I feel like, well, are you an NBA 2K player at all?
Sports games infuriate me. It's like I'm good at every game, and then like I pick up 2K, and I just, you know, I can't do it. No.
Oh God, that's like me with Call of Duty. I feel like I'm good with everything, and then there's something I just can't handle about like a 12-year-old. I don't know. Do they still teabag you when they kill you or something?
Yeah.
That's when I stopped playing. Was basically when like I would come home from work and be like, "Oh, that was a great job today," and I got a paycheck today, and then some like little 12-year-old's been on since 3:00 after school, and he's like, "Yeah, guess what? I also did this to your mom last night." I'm like, "No, you didn't, sir. You did not do that to my mother." And you can't use it. Was it the akimbo dual wielding guns and shoot them 100 yards? That's not accurate. So no, I used to get so frustrated with that game that I was like, all right, I'm sticking to RPGs and sports games. But right. I do remember with 2K, they have the My Eras game mode now, which is basically like a franchise mode. And so what's interesting about that though is that the eras are almost always defined by the players in 2K. So you got the kind of the Bird, Magic Johnson era, you've got the Jordan era, you've got kind of the Kobe Bryant era, you've got the LeBron era, and now you kind of got this new crop of young talent. In a weird way, I feel like some things that make like the NFL great, which is that any team on any given year can win. I mean, I'm proof of that. My New Orleans Saints have won one Super Bowl. That's all we needed. We're a tiny franchise. We won one. That's all we needed to be happy for the rest of our lives. In the NBA fandom, I feel like likes dominance. They like dynasties. They like, the player era of this guy will go out and take what he wants for 3-4 straight years if he has to, and who are going to be the rising challengers, like the antagonist, like, can Jordan get past Patrick Ewing? Yes. Can he get past, Charles Barkley? Yes. And who's going to rise up to take him? I don't feel like we have that as much this year. And don't worry, Planeteers, we are going to get into the Suns specifically, but I feel like we haven't had that since. I mean, you kind of had a little bit of the Steph Curry era, you could argue, with the Warriors and their dominance. But since then, I mean, I feel like just as many people are like, oh, LeBron, he's still a thing, right? As opposed to, like, oh, tell me more about Jason Tatum. Tell me more about Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker. I feel like they just haven't not scripted, because that would infuriate every Suns fan to even think that the refs are helping script this stuff. But I think from a media marketing perspective, we're kind of so deep in it that we know the players, but I wonder, to an extent, does the average Joe who's kind of interested in it, does he sit there and say, hey, I'm really interested to watch Anthony Edwards? I don't think he is.
Yeah, like, this is just what Adam Silver and the rest of the NBA board needs to do. Kevin Durant is doing this thing, like Steph Curry is doing his thing, LeBron's doing his thing, but they absolutely force, like, they feel like the viewership is just going to taint, once, these guys exit. And to a degree, it will. But if they really want to push the young talent, they actually need to push the young talent. Stop giving the Lakers like 60 primetime games.
Right.
Like, and just reduce that to 20. Put OKC here. Will the Timberwolves figure it out with this new Randall trade? Give them more primetime games. The Suns are kind of like last of a dying breed in a sense. They have this big three. They're trying to figure it out. Yeah, give them a little more primetime games. Can Denver bounce back? So if they want to push the narrative, they can, but they feel like they can't because they still have LeBron like in the league. And, people were tuning into Warriors games in the beginning of the season because they were exciting, but, they got figured out like they always do. So, like, there's stuff that the NBA can do, but I did have this crazy thing in my head, and yeah, we'll get into the Sun stuff, what they can do, and it will be kind of like a little it's a little change, but I think it could work. It's bringing back the illegal defense in that era of the Jordan Bulls, in a sense.
Like
where
the hand checking back.
Yeah, the hand checking, and then you can only double team on certain spots on the court, and plus it's more isolation coverage. It's more one-on-one. So like defense has been pretty perfected for a good while now. So there's always going to be a soft spot on the court, but if they bring if they bring back the illegal defense thing, I think it will encourage more players to drive into the paint without risking like injury and all that other stuff. And I think that little change was just kind of turn back the clock to like the golden era of 90s ball and then early 2000s. So I think something little like that will do a lot.
Yeah. Well, and I think, the NBA's got, any major sports franchise, not franchise, it's any sports league. They have smart people that are trying to always figure out the next move. And I feel like everyone's trying to replicate what the Warriors did. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think actually Voida with Bright Side of the Sun had an article or a tweet pointed out that something like one of the first championships that the Warriors ever won, the amount of threes that they were taking then would actually be like last place this year.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the 7 seconds or less Suns would actually be like the slowest, most tanky, teams playing right now. And we thought, oh man, look how fast they're playing. And so I think everything evolves over time, and we've already kind of seen that a little bit. I feel like with the NBA Cup, Giannis and the Bucks took it inside, and Giannis realized he's never going to be a 3-point shooter. And the Thunder hang their hat on 5 out. So what did Giannis do? He said, you can't stop me if I go inside, and I'm going to go win this NBA Cup. And so I think you're going to see more players start to just realize, you know what? Hey, I'm 80% when I'm next to the basket. That's pretty dang effective. And so I'm just going to go in there and take care of business, because you're going to have these kind of Chet Holmgren types that are really going to be uncomfortable, I think, doing any type of guarding interior-wise. They're great defenders, I think, weak side defenders to coming in and getting a block on occasion.
Yeah.
But, bring back some of the, the Al Jefferson types, the Elton Brand with the baby hook shots on the low post. I think it'll eventually swing a little bit back in that direction, and it'll kind of balance out. And I'm with you. I don't think I know a lot of the, average NBA fans that are going to be like, oh, finally there's, 5 fewer 3-point shots a game. I'm going to come back and watch now. They want to see the dunks. They want to see the highlight plays, and threes are still a part of that. So I think you got to keep that. But I think you're right. Let people play defense. We saw that in international play, and Booker actually was thriving in that, being able to hand check players. So bring back what they're doing on international play with hand checking, and I think you'll start to see big men also realize, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not a great 3-point shooter, but I also outweigh somebody by 60 pounds, and I'm 6 inches taller than them. Basically the antithesis of DeAndre Ayton, because every time Ayton would get the ball and just refuse to back somebody down, I lost my mind. But
we all did.
Let's transition into that Blazers game. DeAndre didn't play; he was sick. I appreciate you, Da. You still have respect and love for the Suns. You don't even want to show up to play us when we have to. But the Suns ended up winning this game, 109. Excuse me. This cold is just not going away. 109 to, 116 to 109. There we go. Let's get that right. And the Phoenix Suns were able to take it to the Portland Trail Blazers, handing them their 6th straight loss at that time. So, and then actually, but the Blazers came out and beat somebody just recently. I saw Anthony. Is it Anthony Simmons?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just had a game winner the other night. So, hey, once again, any given night in the NBA, a team can win. Thank goodness the Suns actually took care of business, and got the win. And we were completely healthy for the entire game, Jay. What's happening?
Portland is in I kind of like what they have right now. It's just kind of like putting it all together.
They have a lot of good solo pieces. And they can't put any of it together. Like, if you look at the Jeremy Grant and Simmons, like, their shooting percentages are like upper 30s, like 38%, 39%. I'm like, oh my God. It reminds me of the Sun, like when Booker was leading like Dragon Bender, Marquise Chris out onto the floor, and he's like, hope I shoot 38% tonight. I'm going to lead this team to a victory.
Right. Yeah. Like, Portland can beat anybody on any given night. And I think they beat Denver, I think. Yeah, I think they beat Denver and Golden State in the same week. So they can beat anybody on any given night. Yeah, they have that individual talent, and they do have a couple ex Suns and some players that we do want back. But yeah, Jeremy Grant. You think he gets traded this year?
Oh man, does he want out? You know, what's funny though is that I don't think he's doing himself any favors.
I don't think he is either. Yeah.
Like his values definitely got to be one amongst his lowest it's been in a long time.
Yeah, and he's still a solid player, but not for the price that he's
Exactly,
at,
yeah.
currently. Yeah, so the same thing with like the Levine thing, but I think Denver will probably make a move on one of those guys. But Donovan McLean, I always forget how big this guy is. He's massive. But
the Blazers have a center problem right now because they have Robert Williams, who some Suns, trade experts have been looking at a little bit to see if, because he's a great defender, a little undersized, but very strong defender. And then of course they've got DA, who we already know. And then Donovan Clingan came in 10 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, not bad in 19 minutes of play.
Yeah. Portland's center problem, I guess it's sort of a good problem to have. You have like abundance of riches, but at the same time, they don't know what they want to roll with. But yeah, God, I would love Rob Will on this team. Yeah, I know he's 6'9" and he's like made out of glass, but no, he's a really good player and he does exactly what we need him to do. It's rim rolling, has a physical presence around the rim, and he's just a dominant dude. It just sucks that injuries have pulled him back, but luckily Boston doesn't have him anymore. So because
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, he can't shoot threes, so of course Boston doesn't want him. But yeah, I'll roll through some of the numbers we were talking about. Jeremy Grant, he shot 6 of 16, 4 of 11 from 3-point range, only 6 rebounds, and 36 minutes of play for 17 points total. Toumani Camara, of course, the legendary Phoenix Suns player, who never actually played for the Suns except for the summer league, and but he did have 14 points, 7 rebounds. And Anthony Simmons, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists on 7 of 15 shooting. Shaden Sharp, my guy on fantasy in our little fantasy basketball league. Not a great game. 5 of 15 for 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. So let's talk about the Suns. Like I said, everyone was healthy. I couldn't believe it. I had to double check the starting lineup. We had the starting. Oh, excuse me, we didn't. Why did I think that we did?
Yeah,
that was the next game. Okay, we were still without Beal. That's right, the knee swelling. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Well, there you go, Suns fans. I was totally wrong. But Kevin Durant, 20 points, terrible from 3-point range, 1 of 9, but 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and of course Devin Booker, 28 points, got himself to the line, knocking down 10 of 12 from the charity stripe, 5 assists as well. They were leading the Phoenix Suns out there. Is it just me, or I think I made this comment recently too, but remember the whole Dario Saric unlocks campaign talk that was like popular 3-4 years ago? Does Kevin Durant unlock Devin Booker and actually turn him into an efficient player?
It's just gravity at the end of the day, just having Kevin Durant out there, even if he's like,
right, it's just a theory. It's just gravity.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Even if KD's breaking from 3, I'm whooping Jays. Yeah, dude, I had 3 players out and I had no idea. They need to put out an injury report like an hour prior to games. I swear to God, 2 of the 3 got was game time decision and 1 left the game early, but he was originally ruled out. Oh, yeah, I know. So, but just having another guy there like Kevin Durant just brings a ton of gravity. They were sending a ton of defenders, some of the best defenders, onto KD whenever he had the ball, and Booker, for majority of that Portland game, had sort of a mismatch or a ISO situation, and that's what Booker thrives on. So it was really, really good game for Booker. He absolutely needed that. We've been hating and loving, his performances this season. Not all of it is his fault. A lot of it was, the players around him and the stretch of games that we were in when we didn't have our other stars. It was just absolutely loaded opposition. So, but yeah, Booker definitely needed a get right game, and this was kind of like the start of that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Start of it, but it quickly didn't continue that way the rest of the week. I did want to shout out to Tyus Jones shooting 8 of 9 for 19 points, 3 of 3 from 3-point land, 4 assists, 2 turnovers. A little high for him, but great shooting night regardless from him. And then we went and played the lowly Indiana Pacers, actually. And let's take a look here. The final score of that game, unfortunately, 120-111, and we weren't able to get that done. So hold on one second, Joe. Actually, Jay, why don't you break that down, because I got housekeeping on the outside of the door. I got to tell them I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah, no, all good. The Phoenix Suns came up short against the Indiana Pacers, 120-111. This game never felt really close. The Indiana Pacers kind of just came out swinging, even though the Suns kind of started on a 9-0 run. And quickly, Indiana just came back, were the more physical team. The refs were pretty friendly with sending them to the line and all that good stuff. Pascal Siakam had a pretty comfortable game, 25 points. Really made his presence known in the rebounding department. Had 15 defensive rebounds, 3 offensive, 3 assists. He was just all over the floor. It was Siakam. Tyrese Halliburton didn't do a ton, but his impact was definitely felt with finding the open shooters, finding Siakam in the spots, and they just sort of worked us. They outplayed us in just about every facet. We definitely were prepared for the physicality that they were going to bring, and even when we tried matching it, we were already kind of just like trying to dig ourselves out of the hole. So.
Well, Voida with Brightside, who's also in the chat now, he's been pointing that out. This team, we do not like to get physical. We like to complain to the refs, and then when the refs don't give us additional fouls, then we just don't really know what to do. It's kind of like we're the person that wants to get, we allow ourselves to get punched, and then we turn to a police officer and say, "Are you going to let him hit me?" And then if the officer's like, "I didn't see it," we're just like, "Oh man, I guess I can't fight back. I better just keep taking my beating." and it's frustrating. This was a game coming into it that, the Pacers have a losing record right now, and it's it's like, what are they? A couple games under 500.
Yeah, they're 13 and 15 right now.
13 and 15, yeah. Hey, good enough for 8th in the East right now, so I guess they would make the playoffs. So I kind of felt like this game was a little bit, I don't know if trap game would be the right way to describe it. When I think of trap game, I think of like a scrappy, like youthful bunch that are just like, they might rise to the occasion, be able to, beat a team on a given night. Kind of like the Blazers did the other night, not against us, but I forgot who they just beat. But yeah, that would be a trap game. This game was, I don't know why the Pacers are underperforming so much. They have Pascal Siakam, they have Miles Turner, they have Tyrese Halliburton, they have good players. They just haven't been playing well this season yet. And so it was a little nerve-wracking coming into it because the Suns were favored. We actually do have all 5 starters in the lineup for this one. We have Nurkic back. We have Beal back, Booker and Durant. And, KD, he goes off. 37 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. We can't put it together. Devin Booker ends up leaving the game injured, after 25 minutes, which, changed the record on I'm going to call them the big 4 because Nurk's been injured a lot too. So, any of our 4 starters, just it's like a lazy Susan. You just turn to the next guy whose turn it is to be injured in the middle of the game. It was frustrating to see, but I feel like the Pacers, I don't know. I would feel more upset if this was like a loss to the Jazz. Like this to me is I don't know why the Pacers haven't put it together more yet, but it's more respectable, I guess. In this very frustrating season that we've been having.
100%. Indy just hasn't been able to put it fully together like they did last season. Halliburton has fallen off a cliff when it comes to just offensive efficiency. He's been in the negative and the plus minus like for essentially since like the season started, and he's been dealing with his ankle injuries and all that other stuff, and I think Rick Carnile is like forcing him out there, unfortunately. So, so I mean, yeah, they've been choking away games and all that other stuff. And Indy's a really, really good team. They have a lot of physical dudes, that would just make your life live in hell. And that's exactly what they did. We couldn't get comfortable in just in any portion of this game, and like the only time that I felt sort of comfortable was going into halftime when Royce started hitting his threes, and we cut it to like a 1 point, deficit. But then as soon as the third quarter started, just like how the rest of the season's been, we just absolutely just, blow it in the third quarter, and then working herself back and all. But yeah, Indy's a good team, and yeah, they can beat anybody. So.
Well, and as I mentioned, we had the big three were back. I mentioned KD's line. Book, was doing okay, getting himself to the line. I mean, he might be our best guy at actually drawing fouls. But
yeah,
the Pacers not a great 3-point shooting team. They can play you tough inside with Pascal and Miles Turner. Turner not a great rebounder, but a good defender. And Nurk couldn't do much against it. He finished with 12 and 10. But it just, I mean, this team's a little bit more limited. I mean, we're, as we were talking earlier, with the kind of evolution of the game, we don't have a Vince Carter who's going to run in there and take it into the teeth of the defense and try and jam it over. Well, I guess Josh Okogie does that frustratingly sometimes, but we don't have a lot of guys that can go in there and do that. And we probably don't want that too often with this team because of the likelihood of injuries.
Yeah.
But well, you haven't been inside the boom room yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
All right.
What's the name of that nightclub of yours again?
You talking about the Boom Boom Room?
Yeah, the Boom Boom Room. That's it. Funky. Yeah. Funky. Yeah. Funky. Yeah. Funky. Yeah.
All right, so welcome into the boom room, and it's funny because I just started thinking about that right as John was getting ready to say, "Hey, why are you guys not doing any of the cool graphic type stuff?" So we have them. Suns Planet, we've got it. But let's start with one thing that you pointed out in the tweet before you joined the show. Do we have the coolest owner in the NBA right now with the new $2 value meal? Matt Ishbia basically going like early 2000s McDonald's on us with the saying that basically he's been to the games and he sees these families come and buy tickets and stuff, and they're not, able to really feed themselves because the prices are sky high, which is 100% accurate. I think I was going there and buying like $10 beers and like it was going out of style. And then God forbid you ever want to eat something, because then you're going to look at another $12, $15, $20. So he said, hey, we're going to do hot dogs for $2, water for $2, 16-ounce sodas for $2, bag of chips. That's still a little pricey for a bag of chips, but $2, and a bag of popcorn for $2. So he's slashing prices all over the arena. How cool is this?
This is incredible, and this was like national news, and I'm like, God, like what a time that we're in. Well, not only as Suns fans, because God, we have an owner that like gives a F, but also like it sucks how this is like acceptable of like what the prices were before. We just sort of had to deal with it. Like I understand like cranking up prices for like alcohol because they don't want like Suns Lakers games and guys getting physical like up in the bleachers, so I totally understand the pricing when it comes to alcohol and stuff, but this value menu should be the bare minimum. What owners should do, and I'm glad Matt is still in touch with the general community of like I already paid $50 of parking like across the street,
right?
Going inside, there's all these great new additions and restaurants here that I want to try, but I'm not trying to pay an arm and a leg for. And this is a great resolution, and it brings it's enough to make a grown man cry. Seeing that I can get as many of these glizzies as I possibly can. So I'm gonna be living. I'm gonna be living good the next time I go to a game. Sometime
Right.
this. Yeah,
It's gonna be like Kobayashi getting 10, 20 hot dogs. That's actually a meal right there. So
yeah, I'm gonna be Joey Chestnut at section 214.
But I mean, think about that. Yeah, like let's say, if you had 2 or 3 kids, and it's like, oh, you know what? I like the Suns. I want to take them to a Suns game, and then, Daddy, we're hungry. Oh God, what can I get you? I can get you each a $9 hot dog. Oh my God, would that set you back? And then, oh well, I don't want to give them soda and have them stay up all night. I better get them water. Oh, this is another $8.50 for each one of them. Oh my God, like those prices are insane. I get it that hot dogs and bags of chips are probably not the best thing, but hey, it's kind of like the movie theaters, right?
Mhm.
You really just need a popcorn and a soda. Now you can get that, watch a game for $4. That is insane to even think about. So I'm excited. I might have to go to more games moving forward, because now it's actually going to be affordable. You won't have to basically go and stuff yourself at Marley's first, and then walk your full belly over to the arena, so you can be like, good, now I don't need to actually buy anything. So that was really an impressive decision, I think, by Matt Ishbia. Yeah, I feel like most other owners would be like, oh, you're cutting into our bottom line on the concession stands. That's really where we make a lot of profit.
Yeah, and Matt is setting that tone. Him and Ballmer are like the two best owners in the league, and we can have that discussion. But they cater to the fans in every which way possible, and I love what both of them are doing. Even if the wall isn't effective, just the fact that every seat has a charging port for someone's phone, and so they're chilling. There's fan interactions. Concessions are at least reasonable at the Into a Dome. I mean, it's the little stuff, and this is a domino effect. And when I was a kid, and my dad used to take me to games, all around it was pretty affordable, and we were able to go to the team shop and actually get something every time we went to a game. But it has it doesn't incentivize paying $50 just for yourself with food and other concessions, already paid for the game, already paid for parking, and then hit the team shot afterward. You're looking at $300-400, and now the Suns are good, and
exactly,
and it just adds a whole nother layer. So the last 3 or 4 games I've been to, I haven't grabbed anything from the team shop, but now with this value menu, because I make myself pretty comfortable at Suns games. I get food, I get drinks. I don't like getting up and down. Now I have a reason to go to the team shop, actually leave with something.
Right.
Yeah. I'm oh, this is where Katie went off for 40, and I got this thing. So that's what most of my childhood was. Every time my dad took me to a game, I leave with a little bit of something.
Well, I imagine. Yeah, I mean, it's the same for me. I just remember my dad would complain about everything, though, cotton candy for $2. Oh my God!
Oh yeah,
what a rob job this is. So, I feel his pain. And no, Darth Vader, I'm not rich, as was said at the beginning. I'm at a hotel. I'm legitimately at a hotel. In fact, I see farm animals in the distance here. I'm out in the countryside, my man. So no, this is not a rich man, poor man discussion. But I think this is awesome for sure. And I think you're 100% right. I mean, I imagine somebody like Boyd from Aussie Suns fans with his 8 kids, I think he has now or something. He's not going to stick around and buy stuff at the team shop because his kids are at some point going to say they're hungry, and he's going to have to leave the game early. Yeah, because he's not going to feed them for $400. So he's going to say, fine, we can go across the street to Marley's and I'll watch the rest of the game there, and you guys can, have a burger or something instead. So exactly. No, I think it's a smart move. No, it's not a Weston. Stop it. All right. So let's talk a little bit about who you think the player of the week is.
Shazam!
The Shazam player of the week. Obviously, we only had 2 games since our last one. We'll have a busier week for this next episode. But, the win against the Blazers, the loss against the Pacers, but we had people in and out of that lineup, as we always do. In grand totality, who would you say is the player of the week, the Shazam player of the week?
I would go a little off kilter here. I'm gonna pick Royce O'Neal.
He's been a hot pick lately.
Yeah. Dude, every time he has the ball, I am so comfortable with him just chucking it up there, just because it's been going in, and his defense has been really solid. His interior presence has been really good. He's been snatching boards. He's getting plays in motion and all that. I was stuck between him and Tyus, because Tyus has been stellar this season, but I don't know how many of these player of the weeks Royce is going to get. So I'm going to get him in here, make sure that, he gets some sort of appreciation. But he's been phenomenal, and I've been loving every minute Royce has been out there.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was our player of the week last week as well.
Oh, nice.
I'm probably, it's tough for me. I think I'm going to give it to KD. I don't, I'm always, I'm one of, I feel like KD's biggest critics on, in Suns fandom, because I'm just like, if he doesn't have 30 points and like 7 rebounds and 5 assists, I'm like, why are we paying you max money? You're not one of the greatest of all time. And so like, I always just like, if he comes in with like 25 points, I'm just like, you're supposed to be dominating this league. But he did have a great week this week. And, credit where credit's due. Like I said, he was a little rough from three-point line in that Blazers game, but he still finished with 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. And then he, tried to put the team on his back in that Blazers game with 37 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists. So I got to give it to Kevin Durant on this one. But, yeah, Royce O'Neal, he's the popular pick of late. He's been putting in the hustle and all that stuff. And I don't know if you saw the tweet. I put together a all-hustle team. We had a team purple, team orange, because there's been, if I'm not mistaken, 15 different players. 15 different players that have won the Dan Marley Hustle Award. Who would you pick to win it this year so far? Would it be Royce?
So far, Royce. I mean, since the beginning of the season, I mean, his 3-ball has been stellar. Him just getting up and down the floor, being kind of just like the head of the defensive transitions and all that stuff. And he's finishing layups this season. Like when we first got him, he couldn't finish a layup to save his life. And now, when he's in a fast break situation, taking on the 101, I mean, he's finishing, and he's either finishing or getting to the line. So he's just doing a lot of right. And when you pair him alongside Ryan Dunn, the defense is just great. And then if you have Kevin Durant out there too, I mean, we have a good defensive team somewhere, so I like what Royce has been bringing this season. It really helped. It's a good problem to have, because we've been having our issues with Grayson, but it seems like Grayson's figuring stuff out too. So if we get both of these guys going at the same time, it's going to be really hard to beat this team. And I really think if our role players are really, really good this season, it's just about putting it all together and our stars being healthy. So we don't have to get into like the whole Jimmy Butler Beal thing, but there's definitely little things that we can do to make this team whole, and one of the components is just try to be healthy as much as possible. Get a better fit.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I joked before, they need to get a yoga routine or something in there. I've never seen so many soft tissue issues. Before. I thought this new training center, could have helped that out a little bit or something. I don't know if they got to get like a massage therapist that travels with the team, or a whole crew of them. But they're just, as you point out, I think this team is much deeper than it is last year. We have much more reliable role players than we did last year, which last year was like, take somebody out of the cupboard and see if they work, and then put them back in, because no, they don't. Whereas this year, it's like, Grayson Allen can do stuff. Royce O'Neal can do stuff. We know Josh Okogie's limitations, but we know what he's good at, and he can rush in and, bull rush somebody as a defender. We've got, some younger players who we actually didn't even really talk about yet in the show, and they've not really been getting a whole lot of playing time of late, but Ryan Dunn, Oso Ighodaro, who, I mean, really, I would still argue steals of the draft, both of them at this point. And so I feel much more confident with our bench and with our role players this year than last year. But you're right. If the big three aren't healthy, it just doesn't really matter right now. And that's perhaps the biggest frustration. So, question for you, Jay.
Richard, what's happening?
Jay, what's happening with this team? I know we live and we breathe. We live and we die with every single game. We just came off another loss against a losing team with the Pacers. We got the Pistons today. I'll be honest, I don't feel confident. I feel like it's a young, scrappy Pistons team that might just decide to run past us, and with no Booker, I don't know, we could drop another one. But let's say you were GM for the day. At GM and coach, we're going to give you that Bill Belichick role.
All right.
What are some things that you're going to make? Are you going to change the rotations at all? Change the lineup at all? As Cheesy McShuttlenut says, this is the Bowl era. Are you going with Bowl? And are you going to try and force any trades? Let's allow a trade override, option on here. What would you do to try and improve this team?
So what I would do is probably address the center position and not necessarily a Nurk trade, but maybe add a little more depth to the center position. Bull can't really play it in most matchups, especially in the Western Conference. He's just going to get, beat to a pulp in a sense. So just some sort of addition that you can get from like Okogie or a Grayson Allen thing and just add the depth to the center position. Because if there's two sides to the coin, it's either Nurk has a market or he doesn't, So I really hope Nurk does have a market to, go center for center. I mean, I would love Gogo Pataze on this team. If I can get a player like Gogo, I would absolutely love that. And then with the Grayson, situation, I really got to hear what the offers are and what we can possibly do. If I was able to flip him for like Dorian Finney-Smith, I think that would just add a lot to this team with defense, and he's having like a career year. Like he's shooting pretty well from three. That Nets team, whatever they're doing, I mean, they're developing pretty good. Cam Johnson's been thriving. They just traded Dennis Schroeder because they're winning games when they're not supposed to. So they have like a lot of good going on with the Nets right now. So we get Dorian in. Dorian has previous time with KD. They're cool with one another. Brings another defensive presence. And then going to the Beal thing, I don't really want to address it just because, it's the no trade clause. It's either he wants to leave or he doesn't. That's just kind of like where the conversation starts and ends. But if he waives it, absolutely the swap would be Jimmy Butler. And if you can attach it with like a Josh Richardson, or if it's like a 3-team trade and bring in like another on-ball defender or something from another team, I would love that as well. So those would be kind of the three things if I was like, James Jones or the front office. So the things that I would be looking to address. But for tonight's game, use the depth, man. Since Book is going to be out and we don't know what Beal's mental space is, if he's just going to be fumbling the ball, turning it over, doing this, doing that, just not being aggressive, which has been my biggest issue with Beal ever since we got him, was he doesn't know when to score, it feels like. So use the depth, bring in Bull, bring in Josh Okogie to throw it on the hottest player for the Pistons and, just take care of business, if Book was out and KD was in during that stretch when it was only just Book versus everybody else. If it was just KD, I feel like we would have won that Minnesota game just because they can only guard Kevin Durant so much, and a couple other games that we probably should have won. So I feel a lot more comfortable going into this game with Kevin Durant than I do Booker, and that just isn't like a slight to Booker. It's just who can guard Kevin Durant, and that's just really where the conversation is, really.
Yeah, we definitely have more of a shot. I mean, and it just bears itself out in the record, right? Without Kevin Durant, we're 1-9, and I think the one win came against the Jazz. So we certainly have a shot. But I like some of the things you talked about. One thing that I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen. I've been generally happy with Bud's rotations in comparison to Vogel's rotation sometimes. But I think you're right. We do have reliable role players. We do have a little bit of youth on that bench too. And as Voida talked about before he went for breakfast burrito, we're mentally weak. We got to get aggressive. And, I think to myself, when we had Chris Paul and we were playing the New Orleans Pelicans in the playoffs, what was that, 2-3 years ago now? And Jose Alvarado was full court pressing Chris Paul as soon as he was getting the ball. And it's a little easier for Jose Alvarado to do something like that when he knows he's only going to play 15 minutes a game.
Right.
Explain that to Josh Okogie. Ryan Dunn has been getting about 12 minutes a game the last few games. Tell him your whole job is to go in there and blitz somebody and just upset them. And you're going to be impressed with how easy the offensive end comes, I think. And so we've got guys that we can throw at them. We don't have to expect a Kevin Durant or a Bradley Beal to, play lockdown defense. And honestly, I actually didn't even realize this the other day. Beal actually leads the team in steals.
No, he's been good. Yeah.
I was kind of surprised about that. But, you don't want your three most dynamic offensive weapons to necessarily exhaust themselves playing, defense, especially if one of them's out and you actually are going to need all that extra offense. So send in the bench brigade. Have them go and blitz some players and play really aggressive defense. We've seen them be reliable shooters. We haven't seen them be reliably aggressive and just bringing different effort, I feel like. So that would be the one thing I would do shorter or more aggressive substitutions. As soon as I see some guy getting a little winded out there, boom, next fresh guy in. Because we have that longer bench, we should, as you point out, try and use it, especially against a team like the Pistons, who they're certainly improved. I don't think they want to try and win yet. Like the Nets, where they're almost a little nervous about improving too much, too fast. And playing themselves out of draft options. So I think they're kind of hoping to internally develop players while collecting losses at the same time. So, it's just one of those games where Suns have to take care of business at the end of the day, and they have to pick up the win. It's not must win, but it's pretty dang close in my mind. Let's take a look at the lineup for next week. We on Christmas Eve. Excuse me, not Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. There we go. We have the Denver Nuggets in Denver, followed by the Christmas Day game against Denver in Phoenix. So that's going to be fun. Playing the presumed right now the MVP candidate. And we'll follow that up with a game against our most loved to be hated player, and Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks on Friday. And we'll be able to record before the Golden State Warriors game next week. So taking a look at Pistons, Nuggets, and Mavericks, what do you think our record will be in those 4 games?
In the 4 games, God, this ESPN website. All right. So, in the next 4 games, the Pistons, Denver, Dallas, I could see us going 2-2. Winning the next 2 and probably losing the next 2. I'm kind of cool with that.
Unfortunate, but true. Yeah, I'd be cool with that too.
If I could pick a game to actually win, it would be today's game and Christmas Day, because we haven't won a Christmas day game in a good minute. So I would like to win that, and we're in the primetime slot. We're the last game of the night. So I would like to, put on a beating against Denver, and hopefully Book is healthy by then. I don't think so, but I hope we have everybody available for the Christmas Day game. Dallas has been rolling, so. I think we match up a lot better with Dallas this season than compared to previous seasons. I think we really adjusted to that. So if we have everybody, I would take us over Dallas, but I don't think we will. So I think in the next 4 games, 2-2, and I guess you can pick your 2. So
okay, yeah, I'm leaning. I'm going to say 3-1. I'm going to say we're going to drop. Yeah, I'm going to join you though. I'm going to say we're going to lose that first game to the Nuggets in Denver. Then we'll come back. We'll win Christmas Day night. And got to get this game against the Pistons. Got to build up a little confidence. The difference is we have Kevin Durant. We have Bradley Beal. We have Yusuf Nurkic back. We have enough talent to be competitive with these teams. And then you're right. I feel like the Mavericks are a little bit fool's gold. I know that sounds weird to say about a team that went to the finals, and heck, we went to the finals, and we're still playing off that. Our championship window is still open. But I feel like the Mavericks are just a little bit more like when Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks made it to, was it the semifinals in the playoffs a couple of years back? And they just have not been great since. I mean, they kind of went all in on that, and now they're kind of trying to pull back a little bit. And I feel like that's going to be the Mavericks. I just don't see Luka and Kyrie being able to kind of be a two-headed monster that can kind of, it's their third best player, PJ Washington? It's tough to say. And I guess you don't necessarily need a big three, but I just don't know if two very dynamic offensive players can do it for you with the rest of the role players. I haven't bought into it yet, but it's also because I hate Luka and I have to. So there you go. But yeah, the Nuggets game on Christmas Day night, that's going to cut into my white elephant gift exchange time. Are you a white elephant guy at all?
At the workplace, yeah, I guess. But my family doesn't really do it. No.
Okay. At the workplace, that could almost be worse. At the workplace, yeah. Or are you forced to give actually decent gifts because you're like, it's for work, you want to lift people's spirits, or does everyone give each other crap gifts?
It's a $15 limit, which I'm cool with. I I'll take a candle any day. I like candles. Yeah, so I'm totally cool with little shit like that.
Ooh, apple cinnamon, all right.
Yeah, I know. All right, yeah, the guest bathroom candle, perfect. But I like little shit like that. It doesn't take much to impress me. As long as it's a little gift, even if it's not directed towards me.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Do you already have your gift already picked out, or do you already do that?
No, I was gonna go to either Tanger or Arrowhead and just walk around because I need to get my daughter out of the house. She's been out of school the last 3 or 4 days, and she's been just losing her mind in the house. So I gotta take her out, make her run around, and I have to finish up some Christmas shopping. So I'll pick something out while
do you guys have a Total Wine and More out there?
Yes. Yeah. There's a couple. There's one close to me in Goodyear. That's the only one that I know of that's close to me, but yeah, there's a few.
Okay. Yeah, the pro tip I was going to share with you, especially for a good white elephant gift, is to get a bottle of Malort. Are you familiar?
Yeah.
You've heard of Malort?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you like it?
I haven't tried it. My grandparents, they have a ton of that shit. So
okay. Yeah. So Malort, for those that might not know, is like a Chicago, Illinois staple. And the best way I could describe it is, garbage might be the best way to describe it. I don't know, like bile. It's amazing. It's an herbal liqueur, and they do it, in shot form, and it's generally considered to be something that Chicago Bears fans have to drink throughout the season to get through the season of disappointment. I happen to get a bottle. They're usually quite cheap because nobody wants to buy it, and you bring that to a white elephant gift exchange, and everyone gets kind of excited because they're like, "Ooh, a bottle of liquor! I'm totally gonna fight for that one." And everyone tries to steal that one. You sit there and you clap because you're like, everyone wants my gift. And then when you taste it, it's kind of like, how to describe it? Besides the garbage stuff, it's kind of like if you ever fart and then you almost have to smell it again because you're like, wow, that was different. I need to smell it again. It's kind of like that. You drink it and you're like, that is god awful. I better take one more drink. And then you take that second drink and you're like, I'm glad I didn't steal this gift. That is Malort. It's a crowd pleaser. So if you can find that, I always say Malort. I actually got my brother on that very well. He got very excited at the gift exchange. He's like, oh, sweet, I got a bottle of liquor at the gift exchange. And then he poured himself a big glass and immediately regretted it because it just tastes like disappointment. It tastes like a son's loss. That's the best way I can describe it. So, well, we're just about at our hour. We got 90 seconds left, Jay. So, parting comments. What is your favorite Christmas movie, and where can people find you on the internet?
Wow, a famous favorite Christmas movie. I'm gonna go a little out of the box here. I am a big Step Brothers fan. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's sort of surrounded. A big plot of it is during Christmas time, so that's probably my favorite Christmas movie. And you can
True.
find
oh my
me.
gosh, that's like an even bigger stretch than like Die Hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Runtime wise, yeah, like it's a lot more around Christmas than it is in Die Hard. But there's a good amount of Christmas movies I do like. But yeah, I got to roll with Step Brothers. You can find me on Twitter at J Joyce, JAYY Joyce on Twitter. I talk about whatever I want to talk about. It's mostly around the Suns, but I'm into comics,
religion, politics, really divisive,
the important
concepts.
stuff. Yeah. the important stuff here, but movies, TV, Suns for the most part, but we can shoot the shit there and all that. So
okay, is now I gotta ask, is the He's on Fire podcast, are you guys gonna blow the dust off the mic, make a new record? Like when are you guys getting back in the booth? That's the question.
Possibly. So we just sort of like stopped just because life got kind of crazy for everybody. Evan got he has a new kid now, so congratulations to him and all that stuff. And me, I was in the midst of like school and a bunch of other stuff, so I was finishing that up, and just timing wasn't good to keep it going for the time. I would love to dust off the mics and get back into the swing of things, enjoy whatever else is left from this Suns team. So and plus it's been really unfortunate to see what All City has done with PHNX. So I feel like that there is a sort of a competitive opportunity to kind of just Jimmy yourself within the Sun sphere of podcasting and all that stuff. So I'll love to dust the mics off, but I'm always here to talk ball. If anybody's listening, just reach out to me on Twitter, and we can definitely set up a day. So I'm usually pretty available. So
well, I shout out to our friends over at PHNX, and sad to see that take place. Here on Sun's Planet, we don't really celebrate anyone ever losing their job. So so it was we saw that, and I saw Voida actually posted that all the corporate employees of Party City were notified that yesterday was their last job. They got All City too. Quite sad. So I think we will turn that All City into a verb if we can. I already did my Christmas movies. I think pretty sure I picked Scrooged. Yeah, Scrooged is my go-to. So that's my favorite. Got to go classic Bill Murray with the dark humor. So you can follow me at Fallen Founder, and and obviously Sun's Planet, and just because there was a couple of people asking, Hamo is on a little bit of a break. He's a little burned out, so we'll be waiting for our Australian connection to come back when he's good and ready. But we'll say for now he's out with knee soreness, questionable to return. And
possible trade rumors.
Part of the free entry, report, right? And of course we've got Kevin Salute. He's going to be doing some more sensual salutes, but of course he's still off until January, so we won't see him next week either. But hey, I'm still here for you, and Jay was able to stop in. Thanks so much again, Jay, for joining us for the first time, hopefully not the last time. And I'll just say, Al McCoy, take us away, and hey, Merry Christmas, Planeteers. Have a good one.
Merry Christmas.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay with us as the Suns get set to shine here on their home court.
Here's Perry. Cigar Hurd. Here's the jump shot. Good! It's good!
Al McCoy with you courtside. Pumped up a three.
Shazam! He ties it. Hey, D.A. Al and Tim up here.
Happy birthday!
Right. Yeah.
I know it's the moment. Happy birthday, baby!
Here's Cameron Payne out on top. Durant, three-pointer straight away.
Shazam!
I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone in this arena this afternoon, to all of those that are watching and listening on radio and TV. Thank you for allowing me to tell the story of the Suns for 51 great years.
That pretty much wraps things up here. And for one last time, this is Al McCoy saying thanks for being there. Thanks for being with us tonight. And from the Footprint Center here in downtown Phoenix, we'll just say so long for now.